Hi, thanks for coming to look at my video. But this time, I need your brain. I need you to get involved in this one, okay? Now, you don't have to broadcast any of your thoughts or plans on, in the comments or anything. You don't have to make anything public. But I really want you to take a good look at this rack and really, really give it your best thought process, okay? And it's not a test. There's no pass or fail, and don't worry about any of that. Your opponent scratched on the break, and so you have ball in hand on the one ball. So go ahead and plan this run out, all 9 balls, and remember, okay? So we're going to drift off to. I guess I'm going to post a couple of runouts here that I have left in archives that I never got to publishing. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to yak your ear off, right? So when we come back from all that, I'm going to post this again. If you need to pause it, go ahead and pause it. What's it gonna take? You ever asked that question? I bet you have. But you don't know you have arrived until everyone around you at that point looks at you and says, "What's what gonna take?" Yep, we've been waiting for you. Being crazy is not a bad thing. I mean, there's benefits to it. We never ever get lonely. We always have someone to talk to. And in this case, it's our little friend in the pool case. The key is to get that little friend in the pool case working with you and not against you. So, yeah, we're a little bit misunderstood, but so what? We ain't hurting nobody. There's a guy, there's a semi-famous, very, very, very incredible musician named Eric Johnson, right? So being a musician, you're going to be in the studio, right? So Eric would go in the studio and start playing his guitar and just stop. He would just stop. And then he would go behind all the amplifiers and stuff and he'd start talking to himself. Yeah, he'd put his guitar down, go behind the amps, and start talking to his little friend in the speaker cabinet. And then a few minutes later, he'd come out from behind the amps and he'd go out of the studio and go to his truck and pull out some tools and some wires and some meters and some electrical gadgets. And then he'd come back in the studio and go back behind the amps, where he would proceed to talk to his little friend. And we're talking for hours. Meanwhile, his fellow musicians would be standing or sitting there just looking at each other like, what the F word? Yeah, what? You can't say the F word, you have to say the F word. So they'd go out. They'd go out. They'd leave the damn studio and they'd go out and get a drink and get something to eat and come back an hour later and Eric would still be behind the amplifiers talking to himself. Yeah? It's just misunderstood. And this would go on for hours and hours, right? Until Eric finally came out from behind the amp, started playing his guitar. And it was absolutely magic. Now, if you don't believe me, go listen to one of his songs and listen to the guitar playing on that song. Once he got that sound he wanted, after working with his little friend in the speaker cabinet, well, I mean, the result speaks for itself, right? So, anyway, there you have it. You are now talking to yourself, and everybody knows it. But you know that you're not really talking to yourself, you're talking to your little friend in the bookcase. So to hell with that. So now you're just playing all nuts, right? But it doesn't matter because now you're a step away from being great. It's okay, it's safe here, nobody can hurt you. And if you think I'm kidding and you don't think this game has the potential to drive a human being nuts, well, you're sadly mistaken. This game will drive you nuts. But that's a good thing. That's when you're almost there, brother. And all you have to do is get your little friend working with you. He knows. Hey, you remember this? It's not going to do you any good if you don't really give it your best shot here. Yeah, this video is just going to be a waste of time for you. You really got to put your brain to it. And this is the big thing that people are not doing in the pool world and wondering why they're not getting any better. You got to get your brain in it. And that doesn't mean standing behind a pool shot and studying it until your opponent throws something at you. It just means thinking the right way, and making thinking the right way a habit. Because right now, if you're not playing good and you're a good player, it's because you're not thinking. And you're not thinking because you're not working with your little friend inside the pool case. And every single human being has a little friend inside their pool case. They just don't use them. You need to use them because he knows, dude. Yep, he knows. Let him out. Let him know you love him. Let him shine. It's time to turn your love light on. Alright, enough about that. Do you know how you would proceed on this rack? I'm taking for granted that you do. I'm trusting you here. You got a plan? Can you do it? Can you utilize your plan? Okay, that's good. Here's how you run this rack. Can we get on the 9 from the 8? And we certainly can. We can hit a stop shot on the 8 and you're right on the 9, but that's the easy part of this game. So let's look at the straight in line on the 8, and boom, all we have to do is get on that line and hit a stop shot. Now, if you get a little bit left of the line, it's okay. Don't sweat it too much. You can always use that right-hand side rail to bounce off of and still be perfect on the 9 ball. But the optimum is to get a straight in stop shot on the 8. So let's take a look at the 1 ball shot and where we want to be on the 2 ball. Now, if we put a straight in line through the 2 ball, the obvious thought would be to get on the right side of the 2 ball so we can bounce off the rail to get on the 3 ball. And theoretically, that's the correct way to be thinking, so you know you're thinking on the right track. But this is not the shot line. This is the shot line on the 2 ball. And the reason that's the shot line is because shooting it in that position, right about the middle of that position from here to here, puts you directly on the line, on the shot line that you need to be on for the 3 ball in order to play into the line on the 4 ball. Now, before tackling the 4 ball, let's look at the 5 ball. And it does not go by this 8 ball for shot in this corner right here, so we're going to have to shoot it in the side. The only other option here is to shoot it in the top right hand corner. And it'd be much easier to shoot it in the side, and that's why we want this line on the 4 ball. So if we look at the straight in line on the 4 ball, we can see we want to be on the left hand side of that line in order to go down to the bottom rail, bounce off, and be careful here to get perfect position on the 5 to get straight in on the 6. So yeah, we're hitting a stop shot on the 6, and here's why. Do you remember the 8 ball shot? We want it straight in so we can just hit a stop shot and be dead on the 9 ball. Let's take a look at that 8 ball line again. Yeah, so we get straight in on the 6, we hit a stop shot, and now we're at the perfect angle to shoot the 7 and get directly straight in on that 8 ball line to hit a stop shot on the 8 to make the 9 in this game is all yours. And don't forget, you have ball in hand here, so where are you going to put the cue ball to get on this 2 ball line? And here's where you want to place the cue ball, because as soon as it comes off that rail, it's automatically on the line. No stress, no fuss, easy and natural. So now, basic stun shot on the 2 ball will put you right on the shot line for the 3 ball in order to shoot the 3 and come off that rail and automatically be on line for the 4 ball. And here's where we're going to shoot the 4 and go off the bottom rail to come up in line on the shot line for the 5 ball in order to stun it back up table to get straight in on the 6. So we can hit a stop shot on the 6. And now once we shoot the 6, we're in a perfect position to shoot the 7 with a little bit of bottom draw to draw straight back into that straight in line on the 8 ball to hit a stop shot. And I believe you know the rest of the story. So there it is. Next time you ask how they make it look so easy, it's not an illusion, man. It's not magic. They have just learned how to play the easy way, and you haven't gotten to that point yet, but you will. This whole game is played by playing into the line, the whole strategy, 1 through the 9 ball. And the reason it's a better way is because it increases your margin of error by a whole hell of a lot. And that eliminates all the stress of having to be pinpoint and absolutely perfect on each shot. It's just plain and simply a whole lot easier, a whole lot stress free, which means you're going to play a whole lot better and you're going to make this game look easy. And everybody's going to be watching you and asking how the hell you make it look so easy. This is how you're going to be doing it. If you don't believe that this way is better than crossing the line and playing the old fashioned way, go ahead and set up this pattern and try it for yourself. I guarantee you that you'll never go back to your old ways again. You know, little guy in your case that you're so mean to? Well, he has known this strategy his whole life, and he could have helped you if you were nice to him. So here's what you got to do. You got to go back to him. You have to tell him you're sorry and tell him you want to make friends. And if anybody hears you say that and they laugh at you and they ask you if you're nuts, don't even pay attention to him. Be his friend. He loves you.
good trip.
All right, buddy, I'll try.
See you, John.
See if,
I'll take her. Did you get your water?
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, I was wondering where it went. We'll just use that right.